Hi, Jody Hardesty with Empowered Heart Connections. When you're dating someone, it can be difficult to spot the red flags, as we talked about last week, and it can be challenging to understand what are red flags, what are kind of pink flags, and also what are green flags, right? So what lets you know that there are good clues that this person is going to be worth even taking your time to date them further and explore more deeply the relationship. So many of those red flags that we watch for it's pretty straightforward that we're looking for the opposite of those, right? So one of those is obviously respect. How does the person respect your needs? How does the person respect your boundaries? How do they treat you? How do they make you feel? I think this is a really good pointer that a lot of people overlook. If you're talking to the person that you're dating and you feel uncomfortable or you feel on edge, obviously that can be a clue that maybe they're putting off some signals to you that aren't really very comfortable. So you want to feel at ease whenever you're talking to the person that you're dating. Obviously there's going to be, first date jitters and some nerves in the very beginning. That's very normal. But if they're consistently making you feel uncomfortable and you don't feel like you can openly talk with them, or you feel like maybe they're being critical or judgmental of what you're saying and your perspectives, those are obviously things you want to steer clear of. You want to make sure that they're honoring what you say, that they listen to what you say, that they can even repeat, maybe some things that you have mentioned in the past, that they are maybe relating to your stories in a way that's positive. Not discounting you, but really honoring what your perspective is, even if they disagree with you. I think that's one of the key factors to success in relationships is if you can disagree and still have an amicable conversation. And sometimes this takes time and work to figure that out. But if you do have a difference in opinions, how are they responding to that? Are they able to say, oh, that's interesting. I hear that, I understand how you feel that way. Here's how I feel. But respectfully disagree, right? Or are they being punitive and critical and kind of taking what you say and making it kind of identify who you are as a bad person or a negative person? So are they honoring what you have to say? Are they honoring your difference in opinions? Are they able to really explore those conversations in a way that's respectful and loving? And if they aren't, if you struggle with that, are they open to exploring that, right? If maybe it's not perfect, because obviously some of these relationship tools and communication skills need to be tweaked over time, but are they open to exploring that when maybe they have ruffled your feathers a little bit? Are they open to exploring repair in that situation? So maybe they're like, oh, you like that? And they say it kind of in a little bit of a offensive way. Are you able to say, hey, I don't love that. That didn't make me feel great in that moment. I would appreciate it if you'd respond, a little less judgy in the future. And they're able to go, oh, sorry about that. I, came across a little rougher than I intended. How do they navigate conflict with you? And usually this is difficult to discover because these things often take time to kind of even have people being totally honest about what their opinions and perspectives are, which is another green flag, right? If they are not oversharing right away, it's probably a good thing. If they're being open but not necessarily maybe bad mouthing their exes or saying everything about their whole lives in the first date, that might be a little more information than you need to know right away. But are they being modest with their information? Are they being measured? Are they emotionally regulated, right? Are they able to kind of mitigate conflict in those moments? Are they able to express themselves in a way that seems appropriate and reasonable? Does it feel, again, comfortable? I think this is a lot of when we have been used to ignoring red flags, we have to really reacquaint ourselves with our intuition and really recognize what it felt like maybe to be with an ex that did not match, that was not a good match or connection for you, versus what it feels like to be with somebody who does feel safe and comfortable, to really notice in your body what that feels like for you. And those can be really good clues for what's a green flag. If again, if the person's able to have those conversations with you, be comfortable, be at ease, doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, but makes you feel kind of calm and safe to share your perspectives and your opinions, that's a really good clue that it's going to be a green flag to, again, test the waters and move forward. Now, again, I'm more cautious than some, and I recommend that you take your time because I know people can kind of be deceptive for quite a while. They can put on an act for a good time. So you want to make sure that you are really honoring your own space and your own boundaries and making sure you take time to really get to know somebody. And a green flag is somebody who's going to honor that, and somebody who's going to be like, you know what, I respect that. I also would like to take time to make sure that we are a match before we get too far into commitment, before we really dive in deep into the relationship. We want to know that we are compatible. So the other thing is obviously whenever the respect is my first and foremost there, that you need to make sure that they have respect for you, that they're again being considerate, they respect your boundaries, they honor what you say, they hear and validate you. And again, this isn't like they have to agree with everything you say and you're right and they're wrong. That obviously is a whole different dynamic that we don't want to have that either, but that you do feel honored and valued, and even if they have a difference of opinions, that they are willing to work with you on that they're willing to kind of process through those things and evaluate how to have more success in conversations if it does go south a little bit. The other thing is, what is their value system? So I mentioned values a lot, and I think it's difficult sometimes for people to assess what are their own values, especially if they've been kind of in the habit of getting into relationships kind of, we often fall into relationships instead of choosing to date someone deliberately. It's like, oh, that person's available and I'm available, let's give it a try. And so we get kind of lost in just having that kind of passionate draw to someone rather than really evaluating, okay, what is it that I want in a compatible partner? Are they sharing the same value system that I have? Do they maybe have a strong work ethic like I do? Or do they, want to live beyond their means? Or are they able to live within a budget? And is that something that you value? And again, if you want to, stretch your budget and you're okay with paying off credit card debt, and that's your value system, then that may not be an issue for you. But you want to make sure that the person you're dating is also in the same mindset, because those areas particularly create conflict down the line. So making sure that you have the same value system. Do you both want to have kids? Do you want to have a retirement plan? Do you want to travel? Do you want to work full time? Do you work 5 days a week, 8 to 5? And is that what your expectations are for your partner? Or are you somebody who's, working from home and you're hoping that your future partner can also have the same kind of freedom to do that? What is it that you're willing to compromise and willing to accept? And is it also compatible with what your partner is also expecting and hoping for? Those are some of those green lights that you want to make sure that you're aligned in all those areas to be able to ensure that the likelihood of success is higher. Right now, could be something that comes up down the line that you haven't seen, but most likely if you're watching for these areas, you will be more likely to have success if you're able to continue to explore these avenues that could be potentially differences for you in the beginning, that could be kind of deal breakers. So again, I've talked about in the past, one of those deal breakers is whether or not they're going to have children. It's not something that you can really negotiate very well. Either you have them or you don't. So those are some huge values that are really important to determine. Is this a green flag? Is this person giving me green flags? Are they giving me information that's letting me know that they are, a match and they're able to move forward? The other thing that I find people get frustrated with over time is if their partner doesn't have the same capacity for intellectual conversation or interesting conversation, or even they're overly conversant. if you're a person, you want them to be a relative match for you whenever you're trying to find a compatible partner, right? So are they able to have a give and take whenever you're having these conversations? Are they just asking you questions? Are you just asking them questions? So these are also some green flags for you. And again, it's different for everybody, right? If you want somebody who's just more of a great listener than they are a talker, that might work for you if that person isn't maybe as conversational as you are. But you want to make sure that you again are on the same page with that does this person just feel like they're kind of digging for information, or do they feel like they're really open and they're vulnerable and they're willing to share their lives as well? Because over time, that, it's nice to be listened to, everybody loves that, but over time you really want to know that the person that you're connecting with is able to connect back with you and is able to be vulnerable and open and tender. And those are some green flags that are really significant down the line. And again, you don't have to be exact replicas of each other. That's, boring. That would get really old really quick. But you do need to be having levels of compatibility, which is clues that for those green flags, right? That this person is respectful, they're considerate, they honor my boundaries, they understand and appreciate what I have to say, they are able to have a conversation, they're able to do give and take. And these are some real important green flags to watch out for, or some indications that can let you know that this is going to be potential for a compatible partner. And then, as I always say, take your time, take your time, take your time, because again, people can put on a good show for quite a while, but to make sure that you are aware of when those red flags do come up, that you're not dismissing them, you're not discounting them, and that you're really looking for those green flags too. That, okay, let's see, have we weeded out the red flags? They don't have many of those, or they have maybe one that might be pink, but that the green flags, the indications that they are a reliable and good partner, those ones are there. They're solid, they're present, and they're consistent. That's the other thing that's important to really watch out for is anybody can be kind for temporarily, they can match you maybe even temporarily, but if they're inconsistent, if they're not able to follow through with those behaviors over time, then again, that can be an indication that those green flags may not be so green after all. So making sure you're watching for all of these qualities, right? That they're respectful of you, you have a similar value system, you're able to feel honored and appreciated and respected, and obviously we have to reciprocate all of these qualities as well, but that they are able to give and take, they're able to connect with you in a deep and tender way, and they're willing to grow and change. That, I think, is a huge indication of whether or not relationships are successful, is if both people are willing to say, oh, I messed up there. I'm sorry about that. I could learn from that. I could grow. I could change a little bit, right? You don't want somebody to change their whole personality for you, but that we all have idiosyncrasies and none of us are perfect. We all have areas that we could learn and grow. And that is, in my opinion, one of the reasons why people have relationships is so we can learn and become better people and be happier even than we already are, is that we can help each other tweak those little things that maybe we didn't know was even there before we got into a relationship, but be able to not only like and appreciate each other, but also understand that, hey, even though they're not perfect, they're willing to work with me and they're willing to be able to be the best person that they can be, because we want to do that for each other. Right? We're trying our best. We both want to connect. So those are some green flags to be aware of. And I hope this has been helpful. If you have found this video helpful, I'd love it if you'd click the like button. And I hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching.